He spent decades behind bars, but a wrongfully convicted East Texas man is free and seeking justice after being sent to prison for a murder he didn't commit. Kerry Max Cook has filed a lawsuit against Smith County and those in the city of Tyler responsible for his conviction. This summer, the Texas Court of Criminal Appeals found Cook is innocent of the 1977 murder of Linda Jo Edwards. And joining us now to dive deeper into this civil lawsuit is Kerry Max Cook. Kerry, thanks for being here. First, can you share the key reasons behind your decision to sue Smith County and the city of Tyler?
It was a very easy decision after the Texas Court of Criminal Appeals had did an extensive 106-page decision delving into how and why I was 100% actually innocent of the crime of Linda Edwards. I'd been seeking justice for Linda and I for 47 years, and until the Texas Court of Criminal Appeals, I'd gotten nowhere, just conviction after conviction, trial after trial. The reason it was so important was because when the prosecution held the cards, they were able to persecute me, and the police were able to lie and get away with wrongly convicting me. So in a civil suit, a Section 1983 civil suit, the laws are changed. I'm the prosecutor, and I get to hold them accountable. I get to expose the lies, the things that caused me to be wrongly convicted and close to being executed. And so the civil suit is really important. It's about accountability, justice for Linda Jo Edwards and Kerry Max Cook.
And Kerry, what specific outcomes are you hoping for to achieve with this lawsuit?
I'm hoping for a jury a Smith County jury to hear the truth for the first time in 47 years, hear the real truth, and a verdict of guilty towards the police that had framed me, and finally, real vindication.
And Kerry, you've spent more than 5 decades trying to clear your name. What role do you believe prosecutorial misconduct and systemic flaws in Smith County played in your wrongful conviction?
Well, the focus of the lawsuit is the police misconduct, and that's what I want to talk about today. It's the police misconduct investigations, Eddie Clark, Ron Scott, J.B. Smith, the various players involved in my arrest, Doug Collard, my wrongful arrest, my indictment, and my subsequent nearly 4 capital murder trials and convictions. It's the roles of the Tyler Police Department, a relic from the old Smith County Justice era, 1977-78, in which I was arrested, tried, and convicted in. That's what this lawsuit's about.
And after all these years, how has this fight for justice shaped your life?
It's certainly been costly. As most people know, I've had a stroke. I've had 3 life-threatening heart surgeries, and I refuse to give up. There's other people that have suffered injustice in Tyler, Texas, and I feel like I feel responsible to be a spokesperson, to stand up for them too. And so it never was just about me and Linda. It was about a lot of other people too. And so it's been a costly fight, like you said, nearly 5 decades, but I refuse to give up. The bottom line, the real story here is the man Smith County couldn't kill, couldn't execute, the inmates couldn't kill, and in the end, I couldn't even kill myself through the depression of it all.
And Kerry, obviously, there's been a lot of challenges that you've had to overcome, but what do you think has been the most challenging part of continuing this battle after your release?
Getting back into court, under the law, to convict you, to wrongly convict you, all that's necessary is proof beyond a reasonable doubt. However, to undo the wrongful verdict and to get back in court to challenge the wrongful conviction, it requires evidence by clear and compelling evidence, and the bar is extremely high. So the biggest challenge was to be able to, my wife and I, to collect the evidence, and then, being indigent, find lawyers who would be willing to go back into an expensive case, go back into court and challenge and help me fight for my innocence. So the biggest obstacle was just putting this all together and motivating lawyers to fight for me, to see what I saw and it being important to them as it was to me.
And how did the experience of being on death row impact your views on the criminal justice system and the death penalty?
Well, we could be here a long time with that one, Brendan. My time on death row certainly was very traumatic. Human Rights Watch called me the most brutalized person in the history of the of the American penal system, and I certainly paid a high price to survive. But it taught me a lot. I studied the law while I was on Texas death row. At times, I was my own lawyer. I had no choice. I was indigent, and I had no lawyer. But I refused to give up because justice always mattered the most to me. And no matter how many people would tell me or lawyers would tell me that I couldn't win, the system was too stacked against me, I refused to accept that. And I still do today. I believe in the people of Smith County. I think since the decision, the October 2nd decision, the October 19th, 2024 actual innocence decision has finally cleared me once and for all. I think the people of Tyler, Texas, finally have begun to see the truth, the writing on the wall, and it's a different feeling when I come to Tyler, Texas. I was just there last week. And I think things have changed. And I think people will finally understand that this fight was never just about me, that I'm fighting for justice in general for people like me.
And speaking of those like you, what message do you want to send to other wrongfully convicted individuals fighting for justice?
That there's always hope. That you can never give up on hope. When you give up on hope, it's like hope is the main element of life. It's like water. Without it, we dehydrate. Hope is the most important thing. No matter how bad it looks, no matter how dark, no matter how impossible it looks, if you hold on to hope and you just believe and you don't give up, there's always a chance you can win. So my message would be, no matter what, never give up. If you're innocent, if you're being honest and you've suffered an injustice, don't give up. Because if you give up, everyone else gives up on you too.
Kerry, do you believe your lawsuit could lead to meaningful changes in how wrongful convictions are handled?
I filed it, Brendan, for that reason. I filed it. I filed it to be the change I wanted to see in the legal system. So I'm thinking that this, what, Sandra? Do you want to say something?
No, you're
Oh,
good.
go ahead. What did you reach me for?
Oh, no. I was giving you encouragement.
Oh, okay. Yes, I think that this lawsuit is the only way to bring about change. I could have simply went the Tim Cole Act, and received the wrongful conviction compensation. But instead, I made a big decision, even after 47 years of suffering tremendously and not able to get a job because of a wrongful murder conviction and all that. I made a decision that I wanted to hold them accountable instead, because in holding them accountable, that's what's going to bring about change, nothing else. Me receiving money from Tim Cole is not going to change anything. It would make my life better, but it's not going to change anything. I want to change it. I want to change the way people are handled in Smith County, especially poor people.
Kerry, you talked a little bit about, change and seeking justice. What reforms would you like to see implemented to prevent cases like yours from happening in the future?
That's how much time do we have? I mean, that's an open-ended big question. I'll give you one example. For those who don't understand or know a lot about the law, they won't get this, but I'm going to say it anyway. In Smith County, for example, well, in general, there's a thing called extraneous offenses and hearsay evidence is usually not admissible at the guilt or innocent phase of the trial. But in Smith County, and only in Smith County, Texas, extraneous offenses are admissible at the guilt or innocent phase of the trial. It's how a lot of cases are won where there's lacking evidence. An extraneous offense can be something, it's the most rankest of hearsay. If someone can say you said this or did this, and it's admissible, whereas otherwise it wouldn't be admissible at the guilt or innocent phase. Now, at the punishment phase, it is admissible. But people who are innocent never should get to a punishment phase for that to happen. So it's an extremely low bar of proof. It's called extraneous offense. And Smith County has a history of the judges allowing extraneous offenses to go before the jury at the guilt or innocent phase and not at the punishment phase. So I'd like to see that changed, among other things.
And Kerry, lastly for you,
Anything.
What'd you say, Sandra?
Because police officers could say anything and they have that badge of
Because
ability.
I hope I don't get misunderstood by saying this, but police officers lie and they have that badge of credibility and they have qualified immunity. Like, for example, in my case, Brendan, there was absolutely no question at all that Sheriff's Deputy Robert Wickham had manufactured a false confession story against me, and that the so-called elevator confession story. He clearly manufactured that after my case was reversed. And they had lost the testimony of Edward Scott Scheisler Jackson, who admitted they'd showed him the murder pictures and told him what to testify to in exchange to reduce his murder charge down involuntary manslaughter and set him free, in which he went on to go to Missouri and murder another man. But what was it?
You're talking about the credibility.
So police officers share a tremendous amount of trust, public trust, and have a tremendous amount of credibility, which they should. But when you have rogue police officers like Robert K. Wickham, who lied in my case, it helped the jury reconvict me and send me back to death row. Well, just so you know, in the federal suit recently, they dismissed Robert Wickham from being held accountable because they said under the law he had immunity, he had qualified immunity. So police officers have immunity where they can lie, cheat, and steal their way into convicting someone. They can't be held accountable. I'd like to see that changed. I think there's something morally wrong with that, especially now that you know 100% I am innocent. And I was wrongly convicted based on people like Robert K. Wickham in Tyler, Texas.
And Kerry, my last question for you, how has your personal journey influenced public perceptions of justice here in East Texas?
I think it's influenced the public tremendously. I took part in a off-Broadway play called Exonerated. I speak around the world. I teach overcoming adversity. I teach the importance of hope, family, and never giving up. And I can tell you from where I'm sitting, it's had a big impact on the United States and other people who were lost in their fight. They were hopeless and feeling like they couldn't win. They're inspired by me. If you go online, you look at the various Smith County pages, you'll see that people are beginning to stand up and fight back now. They believe there's hope. I inspired them and gave them hope.
All righty, Kerry Max Cook, thank you for your time.
Thank you so much, too, for having me.